I've got to tell you about this incredible idea I stumbled upon, a real mind bender that sits right at the intersection of ancient faith and, cutting-edge science. It started with a single question that just wouldn't leave me alone.
Right? What if all this time, prayer wasn't just some abstract ritual, but an actual biological command, something written into our very code? This idea sent me down a total rabbit hole, and I want to take you with me. And it all starts with the basic nature of, well, everything.
So the first piece of the puzzle is this. The entire universe is based on vibration. Seriously, everything from the tiniest atoms to the biggest galaxies, it's all humming. It's all responding to sound and frequency. The universe isn't silent, it's a symphony.
Now here's where it gets personal. This whole vibration thing isn't just happening out there in space. Nope, it's happening inside you, right now. Your body, your cells, they're all vibrating. Every single cell has its own unique frequency. You're not just living in a vibrating universe, you are a miniature vibrating universe.
Okay, so if we're basically made of vibrations, how does that actually affect us? Well, this is where things get really, really interesting. It turns out it can influence the most fundamental part of us, our DNA. And I always thought of DNA as this fixed blueprint, like you get what you get. Turns out I was completely wrong.
I came across this field called epigenetics, and wow, it changes everything. Here's the deal. It proves our DNA isn't some fixed destiny. Think of it more like a musical score, and your environment, your thoughts, your emotions, and yeah, especially sound, they act like the conductor, deciding which parts of that score get played and how loudly.
The bottom line is this, and it's a big one. Your DNA is listening. It's not static. It's constantly responding to the signals it receives, both from the world around you and the world inside you. For me, that was a total game changer. It means sound isn't just something we hear. It could be a tool to literally reprogram our biology.
So this whole journey into sound and DNA then led me to something even more startling. Something about the human heart. I always pictured it as, just a pump. A vital one, for sure, but just a pump. But it turns out that's not the whole story. Not even close.
Get ready for this. Modern neuroscience has found that the heart has over 40,000 neurons. That's right, brain cells in your heart. It's basically a little brain in your chest that can think, feel, and remember independently from the brain in your head. It's absolutely wild.
And this is where the ancient world and the modern world just collide in the most beautiful way. There's this verse in the Quran that says, they have hearts with which they do not understand. I always thought that was a metaphor, but it's not. It's a statement of physiological fact. The heart is an organ of perception, of understanding.
So let's connect these dots. Let's build that bridge between these two worlds, because when you put ancient wisdom next to modern scientific language, the parallels are just unbelievable.
On one hand, you have a Sufi mystic like Imam Ghazali saying that Dhikr, this practice of remembrance, polishes the heart. Okay? Then, centuries later, you have neuroscientists talking about achieving neural and cardiac coherence, which is just a fancy way of saying a state of perfect harmony between the brain and the heart. They're describing the exact same thing.
Suddenly, this ancient saying just clicked for me in a whole new way. It stopped feeling like a poetic metaphor and started sounding like a literal, physiological fact. Being in that state of remembrance, of coherence, that's being biologically alive. And being disconnected? Well, that's being in a state of internal chaos, the living and the dead. All of this forced me to reframe the entire practice. I mean, if something like Dhikr can literally change our heart's rhythm, calm our entire nervous system, and maybe even influence how our genes express themselves, is it really just some outdated ritual? Or is it an active, powerful technology for transforming our own biology? And that's when it hit me. The reason so many of us, myself included, don't feel the effects of these practices is because we're focusing on the wrong thing. We're busy counting repetitions, going through the motions. But the goal was never about counting. It's about tuning. It's about using a sacred sound to align your own frequency, to resonate your entire being with something bigger. Okay, so enough theory. How can we actually test this? How can we feel it for ourselves? I found a really simple experiment, a 21-day practice from the Sufi tradition that lets you move from just thinking about this stuff to actually experiencing it. It's so straightforward. Just 4 simple steps. You sit calmly, put your right hand over your heart, breathe in slowly, deeply through your nose, and then as you exhale, you just gently and audibly say the word Allah, feeling the vibration in your chest. That's it. Just 11 minutes a day for 21 days.
Anyone can do this.
And as you do it, just observe. Be a curious scientist of your own experience. Do you notice any shifts? Maybe you feel a bit more emotionally stable, or you're sleeping better. Maybe you have a little more control over your reactions, or you feel a sense of inner quiet you didn't have before. Maybe your intuition feels sharper. Just pay attention.
And this whole journey for me boils down to this one last huge question. When we do a practice like this, are we the ones doing the remembering? Or are we creating a state, a vibration, where we allow ourselves to be remembered, to be recreated from the inside out? That's the thought I want to leave you with.